Hey, welcome back to the Steep. We'll start with the good stuff today. So as you can see here on the screen, I've gone ahead and launched Feroxbuster. I've been trying to actually get that running for you guys for a little while now here, and due to GoDaddy's active security, even if you're authorized from a pen testing perspective, their controls remain in place. So in this case, Akamai's WAF is intercepting us and taking care of that. So in any case, I did go ahead and run a quick Feroxbuster here, so you could see, and we'll take a moment now after the fact to go through the controls and understand a little bit about what they are, and then we'll back up the bus a little bit further and talk about how to install Feroxbuster, get it running on your system. So first things first, let's take a look at some of the output here. And as you can see, it gives you a little bit more of a colorful output. So if you're used to using Derby or GoBuster or any of those types of tools for enumeration, you might want to upgrade to Ferox. It's definitely, I think, a nice upgrade. With respect to that, obviously you've got some color coding here that helps you out, and it identifies anything that it finds with a 200. In green, everything else, as you can see, is a rate limit here of 429. So we're getting throttled. Surprise, surprise. But with the WAF in front of us, that's not a surprise either. So long story short, I kind of killed this output after a little while, simply because it was chugging through. But you can see here that it was starting to produce a lot more errors. And from that standpoint, I didn't want to get blocked on my own website again. So I went ahead and killed that. So anyhow, let's step back up here and go through the options one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen just so you can see this a little bit easier. We'll up arrow. All right, I'll pause for a moment. So the -U is probably self-explanatory. That's going to be your target URL. In this case, the -A is your actual aggressive option for any type of randomization with the user agent string. This is very essential, especially for those of you who have done pen testing before and remember, I guess, some of the old days when NICDO and some of the other tools shipped with their own default user agent. That was a really nice but kind of not forward thinking way, maybe that's the way I'll put it, of identifying your tool suite to other defenders, so or to enclave solutions such as Imperva WAFs and whatnot that are out there. So it was very easy to fingerprint those devices. So oftentimes they would look for that user agent string right off the get go and then just block the traffic altogether. So if you ran NICDO or NICTO, depending upon how you like to say it, and didn't receive any results, that might have been the reason why. And we'll take a look at that. They finally got religion and did ship with a different default user agent, which is good. But anyhow, I digress. I'm talking about NICDO, and we're here on Feroxbuster. So let's continue. The -- thorough is exactly what you would expect it to do. It does a smart scan in addition to all the thorough checks. So you're going to get comprehensive coverage with the -- thorough. The -C tells the tool what status codes to ignore or not push back. So as you can see, we had a lot of output in the previous review there, where we had a lot of 429s. Now, if you add in all the 404s, depending upon the verbosity that you set for Feroxbuster, and you can tune that as well, it's just copious amounts of information. So if you're one of these people, as my buddy likes to say, who doesn't like the walls of text to kind of scroll through, you're going to want to make sure you tune this. I found 404 errors to be quite distracting, so I definitely run 404 on everything. -D, that's the depth level. So this is a recursive tool. So as you might imagine, what good is a directory enumeration tool or a fuzzing tool if it doesn't go through all permutations and all directory structures? So it does have 4 levels of depth. The default is 4. It will dig 4 layers deep. And conversely, on the opposite end of that spectrum is 0, which basically means follow everything. I have never run a 0. I probably won't run a 0, simply because I'm just worried about the amount of traffic. Now, there is a flag that we can set for traffic, speaking of that, with -T for threads. I haven't set it here, and I think the default thread count with Feroxbuster is either 50 threads or 40 threads concurrently. So just bear that in mind. You might want to rate limit that or lower that thread count if you are hitting a lot of 429s like I was. All right, minus G. That's the global edition. So as it's going through and detecting new content or new sites or kind of parsing through that, if it comes across any words that it doesn't have in its word list or in its dictionary, whatever you want to call that, probably word list is a more succinct description, it will actually add that to it, which is very helpful. And the dash dash auto dash tune feature is exactly what you would expect it to be. If it starts to see any type of congestion or issues, it will throttle back down. So it's kind of like your rate limit or your thread count with respect to that. It's just, you know, again, mileage may vary on this. And then lastly, that's your output file. And you could type in a dash dash JSON or JSON right here if you wanted, but you don't have to. That would just put it in JSON format for you. And then finally, there's that thread count, right, that I was talking about where you can set it to 20. Now, there is another feature called dash dash auto dash bail, which will actually kill the Feroxbuster if it encounters too many errors. So this is another great way of doing it. The only problem is it does not work with the dash dash thorough tag or flag. So just make sure that you're not passing both of those options. And I think it's bright enough to tell you that. Let's give it another shot here. Yeah, exactly, right? So it's going to tell you you can't use it with auto bail. So you got to choose one or the other. But in any case, let's talk now briefly for those of you who need it about how to install Feroxbuster. It doesn't come default, to my knowledge, installed with Kali. So you can do an app install. Obviously, we need sudo. So you could just do an app install, Feroxbuster. And then conversely, if you wanted to, I do believe there is an option, right, to install via pipx. So you could also use a pipx. And I may have this one mistaken. This may not be one that's supported, but we'll give it a shot here really quickly. All right, yeah. So it actually didn't find that, right? It prevented it from installation. So which is good because we don't want to mess up our configuration. But anyhow, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging in there, and I'm glad I could finally deliver on Feroxbuster for you. You take it easy, and we'll talk to you next time.